Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of July 9th, the week which culminates with Saturday's celebration of Bastille Day in France on the 14th, of course. You'll recall the story that says the French Revolution started when Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." What is less known is the man who said, "Sounds good to me," one Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
Sorry, I'm back finished eating my cake. You really should give me more warning about that. This was 7 layers. I mean, you can't
Exactly.
You can't rush through something like that.
I was actually having this cake conversation yesterday with Laurel. We're walking through New York, and you know how lots of things in New York get hyped because A, there are so many people here, and B, that's where a lot of the media is. So places like Magnolia Bakery or Levain Bakery, which are famous for their baked goods, they get all kinds of national attention. I actually think that Amorette's Patisserie is better than both of them in Disney Springs, but it doesn't get the hype.
I think in a weird sort of way, part of the reason there is when it's 1,200 degrees out, it's like your first thoughts aren't, "Ooh, I really would like some cake right about now."
7 layers of icing. Yes, that's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, they do wonderful work there.
Yeah. They just don't get the national recognition of some of the other places. And I think it's all proximity to major metropolitan centers. I mean, Orlando's not a small city, but if Amorette's was in New York, it'd be a whole other ballgame.
Have you ever seen that sort of Mickey bomb thing that they do, the sort of round dome cake?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
I look at it, and again, I'm a diabetic, so, just sometimes I worship from afar. I love the look of this. I love the design of it. I just can't picture carrying it out into the world or destroying what looks lovely.
I have no compulsion about that, Jim. That would be not a problem for me.
Okay, well.
It's designed to be eaten. All right, Jim, a couple of news items. First, we have reported last month on some land clearing happening behind the Japan Pavilion in Epcot. And I think you had said that this possibly might be for new drone show coming to Epcot.
We are entering that window of time where they aren't kidding around about this new nighttime show.
So a permit was filed yesterday for construction in the area around this land. The project is named C1. Don't know what it means, but look for some activity to start happening on that land imminently, if not sooner.
All right.
We'll know soon enough what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If it's a drone building, if it's another Walmart, if it's a 7-Eleven. Also, Jim, big news. I have visited Toy Story Land. I was there the day before opening day.
And
it's lovely. Here's my impression of it. It's bigger and more detailed than I expected it to be. The Tinker Toy effects, the lighting effects, the little nods to toys all around the land are more well done than I expected. So you've no doubt seen the online photos now of the land benches that are done like dominoes and Uno cards and things like that. Really looks good when you're in the land. I like that quite a bit. There's more detail than I expected. The rides, Slinky Dog and Alien Swirling Saucers, are, I think, at opposite ends of the spectrum for me in terms of what I think of when I try and envision good rides for the park. So I think Slinky Dog is actually a very good addition to the studios. The studios has kind of always been known not to have very many kid-friendly rides, right? Because if you think about it, the only really kid-friendly ride in the whole park prior to Toy Story Land was Toy Story Mania, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, everything else had a fairly high height requirement or may have been too scary for kids. So, Slinky Dog comes in. It's a 38-inch height requirement, which is basically like a 3 to 5 year old. It's a fun ride. It's got more excitement in it than I anticipated. It's also a slightly longer ride than I imagined. There's no loops or anything like that. It's basically steep banked turns, some mild acceleration, and a bunch of hills and valleys. But a perfect like second roller coaster for kids. The thing that I loved about it is the theming. There's the second launch point about halfway through the ride where you stop and you're going to go through a set of arched signs that say go, 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 go. And I think you've seen these in the videos, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The thing that I love about them is to either side are these plastic addition symbols, so plus symbol shaped spinning things. So imagine a cylinder, but instead of it's a cylinder, it's shaped like a plus sign from above. And on each of the sides is a plastic flame effect. So remember when you had like Hot Wheels sets from the 70s. They couldn't actually spit out flames. So what they had was stickers of flames that spun around to simulate flickering fire. And they've reproduced these in the ride, and it's a nice nod to sort of like 70s era toys in them. And I like that kind of detail. But it's a fun ride. I really like Slinky Dog quite a bit. I was on one of the last preview rides on Friday before it poured. Mm-hmm. And this brings up an interesting point. There's no shade, Jim, in Toy Story Land. There is no shade in Toy Story Land. Yeah, so like there's no crying in baseball. There's no shade in Toy Story Land.
If you go to the Alien Swirling Saucer, now that attraction is actually undercover.
It is.
Alien Swirling Saucer comes off of the back of the success of Mater's Junkyard Jamboree at Cars Land.
Exactly the same ride. I mean, it substitutes saucers for trucks. Yeah.
But yet again, if you remember the Disney California Adventure version of this attraction, it's open to the sky because, of course, it's Southern California, and it rains once.
Yeah, it doesn't rain nearly as often as Florida, where you can schedule your watch by it every afternoon.
So they put that one undercover, but you're saying that's a less satisfying experience than Slinky Dog, or
here's the thing about it. When I was on it, and again, this was a preview day when there weren't regular guests in. Laurel and I were the only two people in line. Maybe the ride was half full. So it was not like there was a pressing need to get us on and off the ride. The cycle time of the ride, the entire duration of the ride was about a minute. Mm-hmm. And here's what I'm told. They can actually vary the length of the ride from about 90 seconds all the way down to 30 seconds, depending on how the crowds are around the park. So the median time seems to be around 75 seconds. Sorry. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem like a lot of entertainment for more than like for a 20 or 30 minute wait. Like if I waited an hour for a 30-second ride, I would be upset.
One of the fun things about Mater's Junkyard Jamboree out in California is as you're standing in line, they have this catalog of 6 or 7 different songs that Larry the Cable Guy has recorded that are genuinely funny and genuinely entertaining. So as you're sitting there and you're watching other people experience the attraction, there's the added value of Mater sort of talking to the people in line, and as cute as the little green alien guys are, and it's not the same thing. In fact, that one of the knocks I've heard about the attraction is, while it has a wonderful lighting package and music and sound, but it's just strictly audio. There are no words. There's no real additional entertainment value as you're standing there.
Yeah.
Coupled with the short ride time, probably doesn't deliver the goods in the way that people had hoped.
No, I don't think that's a great addition to the park. The good news is, just the land's been open for a little bit less than a week as we record this. The wait times have generally been 1/3 to 1/2 of the posted waits. So your actual wait in line is substantially less than the posted waits. In fact, today as we're recording this, the wait times for the rides are well under 50 minutes already, and it's middle of the week, so that's good.
Especially when you consider on opening day, the line stretched all the way back to the ABC commissary, and I think at one point there was a 300-minute wait for Slinky Dog.
And again, 300 is the highest number that Disney prints for those signs. So it may have been more, but it seems to have moderated now. It'll be high for the summer. I'm sure there are some people who plan their visit to the studios around that, but I wouldn't be scared off by any of the posted wait times right now.
One line that has not dropped is the line for the Lunchbox restaurant.
Yeah. 2-hour wait for food.
Yeah.
Over the weekend.
In hindsight, maybe just the 2 windows wasn't
That's
the way.
The thing. It's a tiny, tiny takeaway place. You're right, 2 registers. The seating area is actually fairly large for what it is, but they could have easily doubled that, especially with Galaxy's Edge coming up next year. If this is really going to be the place that people leave Galaxy's Edge and come through, a lot of them will probably be hungry as they do it. Funniest thing was, I'm doing this preview event, and the 3 big food items on the menu are the brisket sandwich, the Monte Cristo, and then the chachos. I asked a media rep, what it was. It was like, this sounds like tater tots and nachos. And she looked me like dead in the eye and did air quotes and said, "These potato barrels are covered. So like tater tots is a copyrighted word. We're not going to use any of this in our marketing. You know, it's these potato barrels covered in nachos. And yeah, so anyway, that's what it is. It was very funny, but she looked me straight in the eye, was super serious, smiled a little bit as she said it, made the air quotes and everything. It was great.
The week previous, we saw Phase 1 of Pixar Pier open, out at Disney's California Adventure. Yeah. And I say Phase 1 because, just coincidentally, the rides, Jesse's Critter Carousel, and the Emotional Whirlwind, I guess.
I don't know why they didn't call that the Mood Swings, Jim.
Same thing. I love it. But yeah, that
missed opportunity here, but all right.
But that can get kicked down the road. Now,
yeah, I saw that.
But if you look at that, how many different food concessions opened at Pixar Pier?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, between the Lamplighter Lounge.
5?
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where it's like, speaking of long lines, one of the longest lines at California Adventure, throughout the opening weekend of this thing, was the line for the Cookie Num Num, the Jack Jack themed cookie that was available on the pier. I just don't get how it is in California that you can open 4 different food, and recognizing that this is a theme park, this is going to be a popular land, we should have lots of food opportunities, and yet you just go with the single lunchbox setup and only the 2 windows for Toy Story Land. I mean, I just don't get that. I don't understand how it is that you're opening 2 Pixar-themed things within the same window of time. And, well, people in Florida, they don't eat food. It's really well known.
It's too hot to eat.
It's too hot to eat. 2 windows are fine.
I'm not sure. And we'll talk about this more, I'm sure, as the year goes on. But given that there were people lining up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be first in Toy Story Land, and even now, I mean, a week after it's open, there are people that are lining up at 6 a.m. To get into Toy Story Land when it opens. I don't know that the park has the capacity to handle crowds for Galaxy's Edge. Like at this point, I think we all realize that if Disney doesn't change its park opening procedures, the park will be overrun every day for Galaxy's Edge, at least, for the first month it's open, because don't forget it's opening as soon as school gets out, right? So at least for a couple of weeks, you'll have people lining up as soon as possible. I'm concerned that unless Disney changes their operating procedures, most people won't be able to get in the park. But we'll save that for another time. Let's take a break, Jim. You've got an interesting survey question about theme park names that was sent in by a reader. We'll talk about that after the break.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
And we're back. Jim, about a week ago, we had a listener named Lucy send us in a survey question that she had recently received. And the question is interesting because it asks the following. Which of these names for theme parks is most likely to belong to Universal? And the 5 choices were Epic Worlds, Legendary Worlds, Legendary Lands, Dream Park, and Fantastic Worlds. So first of all, is this a Universal survey? And 2, what's the reasoning behind it? Why does Universal care about names for theme parks?
Let's start with that 4th name, Dream Park.
Dream Park.
That's significant because remember, back in April of 2016, NBC Universal paid $3.8 billion for DreamWorks Animation. And we've seen over these past 2 years now, Universal Parks and Resorts very serious about bringing these characters get featured in the various DreamWorks films, these franchises into the parks. November of last year, we saw Universal Florida debut their brand new Universal Holiday Park featuring Macy's, which those last 2 words, featuring Macy's, basically are hanging out there to be sawed off when the Macy's deal falls off. But anyway, this featured full-size floats as well as enormous inflatables that paid tributes to the characters from DreamWorks Shrek and Madagascar. And then we jumped coast earlier this year during the Lunar New Year celebration. Universal Studios Hollywood introduced a Kung Fu Panda themed meet and greet where people could go to Mr. Ping's noodle shop, and first they get to talk with Poe's adoptive dad, and then they can get their picture taken. And this was only supposed to run from February 10th through the 25th as part of the celebration of the Year of the Dog, but it was so ridiculously popular that they just this past week reopened it on the upper lot at that theme park.
I was going to say, yeah, it's still running, so they brought it back.
Yeah. It's not a coincidence that they bring back Mr. Ping's Noodle Shop because, of course, back on June 15th, we saw the opening of the DreamWorks Theater there, and that's where the brand new Kung Fu Panda Emperor's Quest 4D film debuted. In fact, my daughter Alice was there yesterday. They were doing a media event. They're bringing in butterbeer ice cream for the summer at that theme park in the Wizarding World. So you can now get that at the Three Broomsticks and various.
It's one of the best quotes you ever had was when they launched it in Florida. You called it like coming out with a new flavor of crack.
Well, it is, and in fact,
one of the funniest things you ever said.
Alice was ridiculously impressed at this wonderful, light, smooth ice cream. And while she was there for the event, she also got over to the DreamWorks Theater and rode the Emperor's Quest and was talking about how it's a moving theater seat thing, but there's a sequence where Poe's on the river with Shifu, and they're going through these rapids, and she was really impressed with the movement of the seats and all that. So, of course, this sort of thing debuts as a replacement for Shrek 4D. So the question is, are we going to see the Shrek 4D that's at Universal Studios Florida get replaced?
Yeah, because the Shrek 4D attraction has been rumored to close now for more than a year, right?
Universal Parks and Resorts is being very tight-lipped, in fact, but it's not the only thing they're being tight-lipped about. Paul Brinkman of the Orlando Weekly, in the past week or so, happened to be out driving around by the Orange County Convention Center and found himself over by all that land that Universal bought in December 2015, and then they picked up another chunk on October of last year. And Paul, as he's driving up Destination Parkway by this 600-plus acre slot of land, couldn't help but notice that there are bulldozers on this land. There are dump trucks on this land. And not only that, Universal has ringed the site with chain link fence, and they've built an access road, Len.
I noticed that. So I went back and forth to the convention center a bunch last week. And noticed that an interesting thing about the paved road is it's the paved road in the middle of a construction zone.
Well, that's it exactly.
That's what makes it interesting, that it's so obviously in the middle of all the dirt that you're like, I wonder what that's for.
Okay, so we have a paved, not a dirt road, a paved road going into all of this land that Universal Parks and Resorts has acquired. So MCA officially breaks ground on the Universal Studios Florida project back in March of 1987. And the 107-acre theme park that would eventually open to the public on June 7th, 1990. Jump ahead to December of 1996. Universal opens its $150 million parking structure and transportation center. The first phase was 5 stories tall, 14 football fields long, had room for 9,000 cars. What was really interesting about the design is they could park 3,000 cars an hour, which
it's incredible.
Incredible. But again, that had to be built before they could get serious about taking the old Universal Studios Florida parking lot and turning that into islands and hotels and that sort of thing. So that park opens May of 1999. So, all right, if we do the math here, we have the groundbreaking of Universal Studios Florida, March of 1987, and the grand opening is June of 1990. So that's 27 months. And, all right, if we look at Universal Creative, when they finally got serious about building Isles of Adventure, that's January of 97. And then the park opens in May of 99. That's 29 months? So if we split the difference here, that's 28 months.
2 years and 4 months.
2 years and 4 months that it takes Universal, on average, to build a theme park. And let's not talk about Volcano Bay. I know they want us to say it's a water theme park. It's a water park, okay?
It's a water park.
It's a theme park. Paul notices this, and you notice this, Len. But all right, so if we do 28 months, that puts us October 2020.
Late 2020, which I will point out, late 2020 is just before Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary in 2021.
Yeah, yes. And we know from every part of the company that's leaking about this that it's a year-long celebration. The Disney company is getting in bed with all sorts of corporate partners to celebrate the 50th anniversary, the opening of Walt Disney World. And so it's this year-long look back at the glorious past of the Walt Disney World Resort. And leave it to Universal to be opening their brand new park.
Oh,
all right.
50 years old. We're brand new.
We're brand new. And more to the point, if this is in fact based on the IP that we've been hearing about, that this is heavily into Nintendo, we have the gamers who have grown up and are now gaming with their children. So if this in fact is the park that celebrates gaming, I mean, just to have it open in the same window, the year that Disney's looking backwards and, oh, hey, remember the Mickey Mouse review? And it's like, screw that, come ride Mario.
Yeah, bring your kids and play Mario Kart in real life.
This is going to get really, really, really interesting, Len.
Wow.
So I guess, again, to double back to the info that Lucy was nice enough to share with us, are we looking at a park called Universal's Epic Worlds, Universal's Fantastic Worlds, Universal's Legendary Worlds, which, again, when you consider, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Yeah, you can kind of see it.
Or, are they going to go the Disneyland route, the Universal's Legendary Lands? I mean, if it were me, I would pull for Universal's Dream Park largely because, as just a personal thing, I want to go to Burke. I want to go to I want to hang out with Hiccup and Toothless. I want to go to where they...
If they go with Dream Park, I wonder if that would prevent Disney from using the word dreams in their marketing material. No, it might, right? I mean, it could just take a word out of the vocabulary.
Aren't they down to like 3 now?
I mean, you've still got Magic Family Wishes,
Wonder,
but it would take dreams.
Take dreams out of the inventory. Wow.
Out of it, yeah. I wonder what that would do. So, Jim, how will we know that construction is progressing on this 600-acre lot? Is it satellite photos? Is it construction permits? What are we looking for over the next few months here?
To be honest, you're building in Florida. So I remember when Disney was building Sunset Boulevard and they were getting ready to build Tower, and they actually had to let the site rest for 3 to 6 months because, again, this is Florida, the home of the sinkhole.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. They're doing site prep now. They're grading. My understanding is that in sort of kind of what's also going on at Crossroads, that you have to build these giant retention ponds because, again, it's Florida, rain, water, that sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see where they are in the site prep. Is this the just strictly site clearing, leveling the land? When we know they're getting serious, when around that paved road we'd start to see conduit going in, we start to see plumbing,
things like that. Okay.
Yeah, I would suggest it's quite likely we will see them let the site rest for 3 to 4 months, and then sometime after the first of the year or that sort of thing, we'll start to see serious construction. But anybody who's keeping eyes on permits, let us know what you see, because this is going to get interesting very, very soon. And there's a part of me that just kind of feels bad for Disney, because speaking of permits, did you see that Disney has filed some permits related to Galaxy's Edge that actually bear out what we said, that this isn't going to open till December of 2019?
No, what were I know that they had a permit now describing the shape of the building that's going to be the Star Wars Hotel. Is that the one?
Well, these are associated more with the park side, but evidently the ones that came down basically narrow the window of time for the opening for the Orlando version of Batuu to the late part of 2019. And so it's like, if Universal's looking to open its brand new park in 2020, Disney really wanted that window of time where, hey, come see our new... Oh, yeah, they got a new park too. Okay.
Well, Disney will have December of 2019. They could have potentially almost an entire year with their exclusivity. But then after that, it'll be a competition thing.
There you go.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Lucy, for sending in that survey question. To the rest of our listeners, if you happen to get any interesting surveys from Disney or Universal or any other theme park, please send along screenshots if you can. You've been listening to the Disney Dish Podcast with Jamil. Don't forget, we are produced fabulously by Aaron Adams. Please go on to iTunes, Stitcher, and rate our show and tell us what you would like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We will see you on the next show.